Welcome. I'm Councilmember Jose Huizar. I've been joined by Councilmember Cedillo. Mr. Englander is at the Budget and Finance Committee. They are going through the budget season, and we'd like to call this meeting to order. The first item on the agenda, I thought I saw him wandering around here, item number 10, Director's, there he is, Michael Legrand. Do you have a report for us?
Good afternoon, council members. This is a very brief report. I have some good news that will be of interest to our committee chair. We're having our kickoff meeting for the Boyle Heights Community Plan, the new Community Plan Public Workshop. It's held to share the updates on the work in progress and preliminary concepts for zone changes and policies will be displayed to solicit input. The meeting dates are Saturday, May 3rd from 10:30 a.m. to 12:30, Tuesday, May 6th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Boyle Heights City Hall Community Room at 2130 East 1st Street. And you can get more information at sites.google.com/site/Boyle Heights NCP or through the Planning Department's webpage. So I'll leave this with you, committee member, but I want to thank you, one, for securing the funding last year for the positions to work on the Boyle Heights Community Plan and be able to move forward in this dynamic historic neighborhood and be able to update their plan and provide a vision for the community within the Boyle Heights Community Plan area. So we're very excited to move that process forward. And one other item I'd like to highlight is we're having a small lot design guideline, a new development typology training for developers, community members, or anyone who is processing applications for small lots or would like to hear more about our design guidelines. This is done through our Urban Design Studio, headed up by Simon Pastucha. This will take place this week on, I believe it's Wednesday, at 3 o'clock in the Ron Deaton Auditorium. So it'll be April 30th, 3 to 4:30 at the Ron Deaton on 1st Street at the Civic Auditorium. So we're very excited for those two upcoming workshops, and I'll be available for any questions.
Great, thank you. Any questions or comments? No questions or comments? We'll receive and file this report. Item number 8 is a report and appeal of Sonny Estani of a mixed-use project for property located at 5500 Hollywood Boulevard. We will receive and file. The appeal has been withdrawn, it's my understanding. So we will receive and file that item.
Yes, Council.
Item number 9 is an appeal of APC and ZA approval of a tall golf ball deflection fence at 10101 Wilshire Boulevard. We will continue that to June 3rd at the request of the applicant. I understand negotiations are still undergoing. And so, as we move on, can you read item number 1 into the record, please?
Yes, Council members. Item 1 is a communication from the mayor relative to the appointment of Mr. Ray Chan as the General Manager of the Department of Building and Safety.
Great, thank you. Welcome. And Mr. Chan, can you please come up to the podium? And first, I want to say congratulations. This is the appointment of Mr. Ray Chan as the General Manager of the Department of Building and Safety. And Mr. Chan has been the interim General Manager since last year. I want to first congratulate you and say that at least on behalf of the chair of the Plum Committee, it's been a pleasure working with you and your team. Also, as issues that pertain to my district, your team and your office has been very, very responsive. I think I was very happy when I heard that the mayor has nominated you for this position. You really stand out as someone in our city who gets the job done. I think that when there is a problem, you and your staff analyze it, resolve it, and make several recommendations as to how we can move forward in a very efficient manner, and I really appreciate that. I do have a couple of questions for you, and first, as the General Manager of the department, what are your visions and plans to improve the department so that we could move forward with more projects and support for our community? How do you plan to do that?
First of all, thank you very much for your kind words. And you, at this point right now, construction activity is really picking up. And for example, last year, our construction valuation was only $3.8 billion, but this year is $4.7 billion, which equates to a 33% increase in a year. So certainly LA City is going through a construction boom. To ensure that the development industry can fully embrace this construction boom, our department has come up with approximately 50 separate enhancement programs that would help construction projects to be built safe, to be built well, and to be built fast. And may I say a few of those?
Sure.
One of the projects is what we call the parallel design permitting process. We put this project together quite a few years ago, and just for the last 9 months, 38 major projects going through this process. The deal is that we allow the major projects to be plan checked and designed at the same time. So these 38 major projects obtained the permit through this super fast process in less than, probably cut the processing time in about 6 to 12 months. In October, we're going to expand this program to include also the mid-sized project. So we guesstimate that at the end of a year after we expand our program, 500 major projects and mid-sized projects will be benefit from the super fast process. And after these projects get their permit, when they start construction, then we will assign an inspection case manager to help them with the construction process. The case manager will take care of any technical or site issues, and at the same time to schedule some inspection and coordinate the issuance of the CFO. And we guesstimate that this will also cut the construction process for 3 to 6 months. We also have small projects. We are going to have the Saturday inspection, where we will provide inspection service on Saturday for the small residential projects like replacement of equipment and also minor kitchen and bathroom remodeling, so that the homeowners don't have to take time off from their regular workday to wait for inspector. The inspector will come to them on Saturday. Along on this line, we have another 35 enhancement program that we guesstimate will be implemented in about next 4 to 12 months. We're excited about this enhancement because we know that they will cut the approval time, they will reduce the construction time. At the same time, they will create jobs faster, they will jumpstart the economy and provide better service to our customers.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chan. And my other question is, I know you and I have discussed before the importance of code enforcement to reduce blight and improve the quality of life for our residents. Any plans on that, and what's your take on that?
Yeah, we will also improve our code enforcement operation. We're grateful that the mayor's proposed budget is giving us more code enforcement resource. With this additional resource, we're able to improve our code enforcement operation in 4 different areas. Number one is we will be able to provide more code enforcement efforts to every single council district, especially for those council districts that has the most blight areas. Number 2, we will be able to reduce our complaint response time from currently 25 days, I'm ashamed to say that, to hopefully about 15 days. And at the same time, we'll be able to raise our response priority for any complaints related to the HPOC, the Historic Preservation Overlay Zone, and also specific plans. Lastly, we also will be able to carry out proactive co-enforcement on projects with conditional use permits to make sure that they comply with the conditions of approval. So with all these additional resources, I think we'll be able to reduce blight and increase quality of life, sir.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Chen, and again, congratulations and thank you for your service. I think this is a position that is going to benefit from your expertise, your knowledge, and your commitment to the job. And when I say this position, that really means the Building and Safety Department. In turn, the city will benefit from your service. So thank you so much. Mr. Cedillo, any questions or comments before we go to public comment?
You've been a consummate professional since I've met you in my short time here at the city. Your record indicates that you deserve this position, and the council has confidence that you will continue to serve us at the high quality level that you have. So congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Now we'll go to public comment. That's okay? George Abrams. After George Abrams is Michael Bostrom.
Raymond Chan allowed the fraudulent Langen geotechnical report for Millennium Project to be approved on January 31st, 2013, despite its falsified map in the Millennium DIR and faulty analysis of the test data, and its conclusion that the Hollywood Fault was 0.4 miles away from the project site. We have emails proving that Chan was involved in 2002, and yet in September 2013, he denied any involvement. We have challenged the contributions which Jeremy Chan made to the campaign of Mayor Garcetti. In a letter to Kelly Bernard in the Mayor Garcetti's office, Chan wrote, "My son made these campaign contributions on his own volition, and I financially supported him on his contributions with all of his other expenses. But city ethics rule prohibit general managers from contributing to political campaigns, so Raymond Chan set up his son as a straw donor. The true source of the money was never revealed."
Thank you very much. And just for the record, I know that those allegations were dismissed by the Ethics Commission and the case was closed. Just want to put that in the record. Michael Bostrom.
Good afternoon, Michael Bostrom. I'm here in my individual capacity on my own time. I am a city employee, but I wanted to make that clear. I've worked with Ray Chan for 8 years and have really, really enjoyed working with him. He fosters teamwork, open communication, hardworking, and he really has a knack of incentivizing people to make them want to work hard. I've seen that both in my own experience and the people underneath him at the Department of Building and Safety. So I really want to congratulate him and congratulate the city for having such a great employee assigned to this position. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Kim Westoff, John Vidovic.
Good afternoon. I'm also a Los Angeles City Attorney and employee, but I'm here on my own time. I wanted to say that I heartily support Ray Chan's appointment as General Manager. I've been sitting with the Board of Building and Safety Commissioners for the past 6 years, and in that period of time, I've had the opportunity to work with Mr. Chan in his capacity as the Executive Officer and in both of his stints as the Interim General Manager. I think that Mr. Chan has always shown the utmost professionalism in his time with the city, and he has led the Department of Building and Safety by example with the city's good as his goal. He has exhibited excellent stewardship of the Department of Building and Safety assets, and he has, excuse me, I have a little bit of cold here, and he has at all times improved the morale of the building and safety employees by increasing that morale, by showing them that he cares about them and the department, by getting them the tools that they need and the opportunity to use them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. John Vidovic, and finally Renee Weitzer from Council District 4.
Good afternoon, Council Member. John Vidovich, Assistant Fire Marshal, Los Angeles Fire Department. Here speaking on behalf of the Los Angeles Fire Department and Fire Marshal Chief Storms to fully support and endorse Mr. Ray Chan as Department of Building and Safety General Manager. Ray has been a friend and an asset quietly behind the scenes assisting the fire department as we enhance our development services. Along with Mr. LeGrand, we've got one of the best working relationships we've had in my 33 years of service. I've been in the Fire Prevention Bureau now 7 months. I was there 10 years ago. First I met Ray and his group of colleagues, a consummate professional, and I think our opportunity is only to enhance the city as we bring back Broadway, as we talk of difficult challenges, but ultimately he's our partner in public safety. Thank you.
Thank you, and I want to thank the work of the fire department, your work that you did with the building and safety department in coming up with new guidelines for commercial adaptively reused properties on Broadway that will now be used as a possible pilot to be used throughout the city, and also on the helipad issue where we are now going to not require the extensive helipads on roofs of downtown buildings so we could have a more creative downtown skyline, and both the departments worked very well on that, and thank you for those two policies that we recently implemented. Thank you. Renee Weitzer from Council District 4, and then Joan Pellico.
Thank you very much.
Joan.
Representing Councilman Tom Labange and myself as the land use planner for Mr. Labange. We're thrilled that Ray Chan got this appointment as a permanent general manager of building and safety. All our developers, property owners, land use consultants, if we have a problem, we go to Ray, it's solved in a minute. We are absolutely thrilled and want to congratulate him. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Joan Pelago, Council District 5.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Chief of Staff to Councilmember Paul Koretz, and we are here to give huge support to Mr. Ray Chan. He is the man for the job. There is no better man for the job. He knows constituent services, and our district alone, Council District 5, in the last few months, he has been to our meetings. He has brought the cream of the crop from building and safety. He has addressed every issue in our district. He is approachable, and there's not a time when we call him, you do not get a return call within 10 minutes. So thank you so much for your support.
Thank you very much. So with that, any other questions or comments? Seeing none.
Mr. Chair, do you mind if I say a few words?
Sure,
City
go right
attorneys?
ahead, sir.
Okay, I guess this is not really on my own time since I'm here, but I just want to say that I've worked with Mr. Chan for many years, and he always answers my emails. So I like Ray too. Thanks a lot, Ray, and congratulations.
That's a very good point, because oftentimes I ask my staff, hey, how come we haven't resolved that issue? And sometimes we hear back, we haven't gotten a response from a department. But in this instance, it's great to hear that emails are always responding. So thank you very much. I think if you heard the public speakers and comments, I think the Building and Safety Department will be much better served. With Mr. Chan as the permanent director, I'd like to move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Cedillo, so ordered. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Mr. Chen. Thank you. Okay, item number 2.
Item 2, Councilman, is a communication from the mayor relative to the appointment of Terry Stein to the East LA APC.
Okay, Ms. Terry Stein here. Welcome.
Thank you.
Who's this young man that you have with you?
He's one of your youngest constituents. This is my son, Max.
All right. We'll get him a Team Weezer t-shirt then. Well, thank you. Welcome. And you are being recommended by the mayor for the East Area Planning Commission. Congratulations and thank you for your willingness to serve. You come from a great community of Eagle Rock that has shown a lot of great outcomes when the community works well with the city to provide better streets, et cetera, good planning. I've often said that, Eagle Rock, you feel like you live in a small town in this large metropolis, but a lot of it has to do with its active residents. So congratulations on that. The only thing that kept me from giving a huge thumbs up was that you went to our rival from across the bay. 2 of us on this table went to Cal. You went to Stanford Law School, right? But we won't hold that against you.
I apologize.
Yeah. But thank you. If you could just share with the public and us your interest in serving on this commission and anything about your background that you think is relevant to your appointment.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm honored to be called to serve. I love Eagle Rock. I love my neighborhood, and I'm excited about being able to be involved with our neighborhood, which is our sort of first and smallest, and in some ways most important community. So I feel very honored to be a part of the commission. I'm a lawyer by training, so I'm used to dealing with difficult questions. I'm used to learning things on the fly, and I'm a parent, so I like saying yes whenever I can, and I'm comfortable saying no. So.
Great. Thank you. And I see here you were the co-chair and curriculum director of the Stanford Street Law Program. What's the Street Law Program?
The Street Law Program is a program that sends law students into juvenile detention facilities to talk with incarcerated juveniles about the law. Not as sort of a not in any sort of counseling role, because law students obviously cannot dispense legal advice, but more just sort of a general discussion about why we have laws, what does it mean to be a citizen, what does it mean to be a good citizen, focusing on issues that are relevant to the lives of incarcerated kids through the lens of the law.
Well, thank you. And any questions or comments from
Yeah,
Mr.
very
Cedillo?
impressive.
Okay. So we'll forward this recommendation forward, and it will be in council what day, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Chair, all commissioners will be in tomorrow.
Tomorrow, tomorrow's council agenda. Thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Tired people from Stanford, they're smart.
Next item.
Item 3, council members, is a communication from the mayor relative to the appointment of Mr. George Villanueva to the East LA APC.
All right. Another Eagle Rock resident, this time from the USC School, the Annenberg School of Communication and Journalism. And thank you and welcome. I think I ran into you not too long ago riding bikes around Eagle Rock, right? And
On
the
your
new
great work around the Colorado Boulevard, yep.
Yeah. So thank you, and if you could please share with the committee your interest in serving on this commission and any relevant background you'd like to share with us.
Sure. I'm very much very passionate about planning issues in the Northeast communities, and also including Boyle Heights in the east, and also the central communities such as historic Filipino Town and Echo Park and so forth. And one of my passions about kind of serving in this community is learning about land use issues and further kind of engaging and educating the communities that I live in about these issues, so they can also be involved in the planning process that we see happening in our communities. And my dissertation work actually works on kind of civic engagement and urban planning issues in South LA around reimagining space and place. So I'm very much very involved in not only learning about the engagement process, but also making sure that these processes lead to outcomes of actually what the community wants to see in terms of how they want to see their space and place. And I've been very fortunate to work for Council District 13 in the capacity of a field deputy under former Councilmember Garcetti. So I want to continue that process of really kind of engaging the community around these kind of very important civic issues.
Great, thank you. And you're currently the project and program manager for the Northeast Los Angeles Riverfront Collaborative, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. Thank you. Any questions or comments, Mr. Cedillo?
Sure. The Northeast LA Riverfront Collaborative is a federally partnership for sustainable communities granted project from HUD, DOT, and EPA. And our current, our vision within this last year and a half, is actually closing out this August, was really to focus on the revitalization of the river, but really leverage that to make sure that the 5 different neighborhoods that are riverfront neighborhoods actually get to kind of co-benefit with all this interest around the river. So we, much of it was an engagement project where we engaged the community through different policy workshops, through door-to-door surveys, through public media and social media, to really get their input and kind of develop a vision plan that we'll be releasing in the next 2 months around the issues that the community wanted to see in terms of not only the river, but also their actual neighborhoods that actually surround the river.
Thank you. So we'll move forward to this recommendation to full council tomorrow, and thank you again. See you tomorrow.
Thank you again.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item 4, council members, is communication from the mayor relative to the appointment of Ms. Tammy Membreno to the East LA APC.
Thank you and welcome. And is it Membreno or Membreno?
Membreño.
Membreno, okay. I've heard it several ways. Just wanted to confirm. And thank you for your willingness to serve. I know you're a very active individual in your community already, having serving as the executive director for Barrio Action and involved in the local neighborhood council, previously served on the El Pueblo Commission. So I want to first thank you for the work you do to improve our communities, and now ask what's your interest in this commission and anything else you want to share with us.
Good afternoon, council members. It is a great privilege always to be able to get appointed to a commission because it is humbling and an honor to be able to serve the city. But in this case, you know, the Planning Commission is very dear and near to my heart. I live in Garvanza. Let's not get it confused with Highland Park. So it's Garvanza. And in El Sereno, I have been there for over 35 years in just knowing the area. And one of the biggest sort of things that I kind of miss is a lot of the developments that are being done are not they're not keeping the history a lot of times and the cultural taste that we had for some of the communities. So I would like to be able to encourage a lot more, especially in the northeast, to be able to do that in the East LA Planning Commission. Might be able to have an impact on that. I think it's a great area, and it has great communities, you know, from Echo Park to Boyle Heights to everything in between. So I think it's a great opportunity to get to know what great projects can come to those areas and be able to be part of that.
Great. Thank you. Well, you certainly will be making some very important decisions to supplement the work you are already doing in improving our communities. And so thank you so much. I often mention that these commissions have a lot to say about the quality of life in our communities, and so you'll continue to be part of that. So thank you. Any questions or comments? Yeah. Okay. He said well prepared. So good
Thank
choices.
you so much. Thank you.
So, and we'll see you tomorrow in council. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Next item.
Next item, council members, is item 5. It's a joint CAO-CLA report in response to a motion by Mr. Labange to identify and account for wood frame soft story buildings in the city. Mr. Jason Killeen from the CAO is present, and myself from the CLA.
Welcome.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Jason Killeen with the Office of the City Administrative Officer. As Roberto mentioned, this is a joint report from our offices based on a report issued by the Department of Building and Safety in November 2013. In their report, the department submitted a proposal request asking for 3 additional positions to actually do an inventory of wood frame soft story residential buildings within the city that were built before 1978. Our offices recommend that all 3 positions be approved via resolution authority. The positions consist of 1 structural engineering associate 3 and 2 building inspectors. The department has sufficient salary savings in their budget to fund the position, so no additional funding appropriations are necessary at this time. The department is also here if you have any technical questions related to this program.
Great, thank you. No, I just want to thank you for your quick response to this motion, and also thank Mr. Labange, Councilmember Labange, for bringing this to our attention. This is one piece of many that we need to address with respect to the city's earthquake preparedness in terms of how prepared our buildings are to withstand earthquakes. And I understand the work program will cost approximately $382,000, but it's being paid by existing building and safety budgeted resources, so it will have no hit to our general fund nor extend any opportunity costs elsewhere, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so Mr. Cedillo, any questions or comments? So with no objection, I'd like to move to approve the joint CAO-CLA report authorizing the position authority for the soft story residential building survey and send the recommendation to the Personnel and Animal Welfare Committee.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. We'll take up items 6 and 7 together, and I believe those are our remaining items.
Yes, Councilman, which relate to the small lot subdivision. Number 6 is a draft ordinance, and number 7 is the design guidelines.
Okay, so welcome. Hello.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Councilman Deborah Cahan with the Planning Department. I'm here to discuss item 6, an amendment to the small lot subdivision regulations. This is commonly termed as the small lot procedural fix. Before I begin, for the record, I'd like to make the statement that this item is actually director-initiated and not initiated by a Labange-Krikorian motion, as the agenda implies. Moving forward.
One second.
Yes, please.
Excuse me, for those of you in the back, if you guys could take your conversations outside, please. This room echoes quite a bit. Thank you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. Thank you. So some background on small lot subdivisions. Prior to the small lot subdivision housing model that was adopted back in 2005, multifamily property in Los Angeles was typically constructed as one building that was either an apartment complex or a condominium complex. In recent years, city policy has changed that. Former City Council has created a housing crisis task force, which ultimately recommended more affordable home ownership options. And additionally, the city's housing element also references how small lots have created additional opportunities for fee simple home ownership. These small lots, what are small lots? There's some confusion out there. These small lots permit a type of multifamily development that are essentially detached townhomes. The homes are fee simple, meaning individual ownership. They are standalone structures on lots that are smaller than traditional single-family homes. These small lots are only permitted in multifamily zones and cannot exceed the underlying density of what is permitted in that zone. In fact, due to the form of construction, oftentimes at build-out, these developments have a lower density than what could otherwise be built out, again, per the underlying density. These have proven popular with buyers, likely due to their low maintenance and opportunity to, again, buy a new construction home, which is very popular. While popular with buyers, small lot subdivisions actually only represent a very small percentage of housing units actually being developed in the city. It comes out to approximately 1% of those built between 2006 and 2012. And lastly, in creating a small lot subdivision, there is a map that must be pulled and recorded, and this map is the process of receiving this map is a discretionary process that involves public notification, a public hearing, staff review, and opportunities for appeal. So I'm here today before you because of an issue with small lot. What brings me here is an inefficient procedural sequencing that was unforeseen at the time small lot subdivision regulations were adopted. After the Department of City Planning has approved a subdivision map, which is after all required public review, a hearing, applicants are unable to begin the construction because the lot lines for the parcel are not technically do not technically exist until the map is recorded. Therefore, until this map is recorded, which can take up to 2 years at times, the project is seen as a series of traditional single-family homes with their large yard and lot size requirements on one large lot, rather than a collection of small lot homes on individual lots. These traditional single-family homes have different requirements, again, such as large yards and large lot sizes, larger than a small lot. This leaves an applicant or developer with one of two options. They can either wait upwards of 2 years for the map to record, or they can file for deviations. Waiting for the map to record subjects the project to market changes and drives up holding costs, which in some form will be reflected back into the development, back into the project. Looking at deviations, for example, if they were to reduce the yard requirement, we're looking now at muddied project descriptions that make it difficult for the neighborhood groups to discern what are deviations from small lot provisions and what are actually deviations to request, in essence, what small lot subdivisions regulations grant. In all, these deviations are also an inefficient procedural step that unnecessarily absorb limited staff time and creates additional paperwork. Furthermore, this issue is not seen in condominium projects, the alternate multifamily project type that is for sale, for ownership. Condominium projects can begin construction before the parcel or tract map is recorded, because they're constructed as apartments until that map records, enabling ownership divides. So today, the proposed ordinance before you is asking for a very narrow and minor technical change to smooth this procedural wrinkle. We are asking to bring small lot subdivisions on par with other multifamily construction development procedures. We propose to allow construction to begin after plans are approved by the Department of City Planning, with the filing of a covenant and agreement. The covenant and agreement requires that the map be recorded before the certificate of occupancy is issued. Without a certificate of occupancy, these units cannot be occupied. This will not change existing noticing requirements or appeal opportunities or the public hearing. This will not change existing small lot regulations, meaning where or how small lots are built. Instead, it only changes the order of procedure. However, staff has been re-examining the design of small lots and recently updated our small lot design guidelines. I'd like to now, for informational purposes, hand over my time to my colleague Simon Pastucha, who can bring you up to speed with this, and we can take questions after that.
Good afternoon, council members. I'm Simon Pastucha, and I head what's called the Urban Design Studio for Los Angeles City Planning Department. We issued the advisory agency, which has the authority to issue guidelines and for small lots, issued them at the end of January of this year, and they became effective for new small lot applications. The guidelines were really about giving the community and the staff the tools to help shape the project. Because these projects have such tight spatial complexity, it's important that they be laid out properly to begin with. The guidelines address basically about 6 major areas. It really is about what's the background of small lots, what are the common thoughts on it, site planning, which is key to it, building massing, articulation, landscaping, sustainability, and then we also gave an example of 10 built small lot projects finished so they could go see actually what was the zoning, the density, what the product looks like. And they come in a variety of forms. The guidelines are out in the community right now. I know that the neighborhood councils are using them. I know the development community is using them. They're a tool to help shape the project, but they're not necessarily grounds for denial of a project, because the grounds are really about the subdivision itself, the density, what's going on with the subdivision itself. If there's anything I can further articulate about the guidelines, I'd be happy to, but I know there's a lot of speakers today. And I will stay here as long as I can, but I do have another obligation. But let me explain. The guidelines are all available online. They're at the City Planning Department website, planning.lacity.org, or at the Urban Design Studio website, which is urbandesignla.com. And they've been up since the end of January. And I'm here if you have any further questions.
Great, thank you. Thank you. We'll go to public comment now. We do have quite a number of public speakers who show an interest. We would all appreciate if you get, it's a 1-minute opportunity, and if you feel things have been mentioned quite a bit already, you might want to enlighten us with something new if possible, so we just don't have repetitive items. But other than that, let's get started. First speaker is Barry Johnson, and then Ezra Gale.
Hi, Barry Johnson, Studio City Neighborhood Council. I submitted from our Neighborhood Council some motions that we've done, just showing a history in the last few months of things we've had to deal with on these. And our problem has been where the small lot subdivisions have gone in next to a block of single-family homes, and it's where on the corner of a main street there's an apartment, and the next lot in, which is a single-family home, has been sold and now being developed as a small lot subdivision, to the horror of everybody in a single-family home on the same street. And the problem, among other things, is setback of these next to a single-family home neighborhood. And we had hoped mainly that there would be some way to not have these right adjacent where an R1 abuts an R3. Thank you.
Thank you. Ezra Gale, Dana Sales.
Thank you very much. My name is Ezra. I'm with the Central City Association. We just want to thank the hard work that the department's done with these revised guidelines. On behalf of our members, we strongly support the proposed changes to Section 17.06 of the Municipal Code. Unfortunately, in their current the current provisions increase the cost of development and thus hinder affordability in the city. The proposed changes, we believe, will streamline development, reduce prices, and positively address LA's housing shortage. So again, we just want to extend our gratitude to the hard work the department's done, and thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Dana Sales, Sarah Mitchell.
Good afternoon. My name is Dana Sales with 360-4309 Overland Avenue. As a land use consultant, I strongly support the city's proposed amendment to eliminate the need for early start adjustments and therefore require a covenant and agreement to permit the development of these projects. We work hand in hand with the development community, a consultant community, and city staff from planning and building departments. In most cases, these adjustments cost the development team significant time and money to file and process entitlements that are not necessary once the map records, money that could otherwise be spent for additional architecture, site work, or community benefits. Additionally, this process is costing our cities limited staff, time and resources processing entitlements, making decisions, issuing determinations, and enforcing conditions related to a limited period of time in a project. By supporting this streamlining action, the city is in no way eliminating the public process, which is still required by the subdivision process. Back to its roots, the small lot subdivision ordinance was instituted to provide a form of transitional housing in areas of the city with transitional zones to provide single-family home ownership in established neighborhoods. Therefore, on behalf of our entire team, I urge your support of this motion.
Okay, thank you. Sarah Mitchell, Ann Williams.
Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Mitchell. I'm with the Valley Industry and Commerce Association. We represent 390 businesses in the region that have created more than 100,000 jobs. We support this amendment because it will create indirect economic development and jobs due to expedited construction of qualified small lot subdivision projects. This is especially important to address in light of our city's housing shortage. Additionally, this amendment reduces demands on our city's already overloaded planning departments, allowing them to focus on other larger community projects. We ask that you support this amendment, which streamlines our development process without negatively altering our current procedures. Thank you.
Thank you. Ann Williams, Ramin Kola.
Good afternoon, committee members. I'm Ann Williams with the Planning and Entitlements Practice at SOMAS. The item before you today is not a referendum on small lot subdivisions. If the committee wants to have a policy debate on the small lot ordinance, that's fine, but it should be properly agendized. Item number 6 very narrowly proposes a technical fix to the existing small lot ordinance that has forced applicants to file for variances that are only necessary if applicants wish to start construction before a final subdivision map records. That is, if the applicant waits until the final map records, no variance is needed. The proposed code amendment provides safeguards because the certificate of occupancy will not be issued until the final map records. So if we're serious about removing unnecessary red tape, putting Angelinos to work, and building much-needed housing, the committee should approve this technical fix to the code. Thank you.
Thank you. Ramin Kola, Tim Piaski.
Sorry. Hi, my name is Ramin Kolahi. I'm a small lot subdivision developer. I'm also a past neighborhood council board and a immediate past planning and land use chair for Bel-Air Beverly Crest Neighborhood Council. This is about an inefficiency. We have a small lot subdivision. We're still clearing final map. We went through the public hearing process. There was ample input through that process, so we're not here to talk about public hearing process. We're just remaining intact. It's our ability to deliver these affordable single-family homes in a timely manner in the market. And one of the big things is in our area of Venice, what we hear right now from our neighbors is, when are you going to do this? When are you going to do this? Because they're sick of seeing the fences up and the boarded up single story building on it. So we think this allows us to go in and do what is previously approved, and it also helps because these are small projects. We're a small business. We're locally here. Allow small businesses to get to work, and those contractors and all those small businesses to get to work. So we hope you support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Tim Piaski, Matthew Jacobs.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Tim Piaski with the Building Industry Association, Los Angeles Ventura chapter. The BIA is supportive of the proposed ordinances. It will help streamline processing and alleviate the need for project variances. Long processing time delays the construction of much needed housing while also increasing the cost. Streamlining the small lot approval process will help to reduce the pressure on housing affordability and the continual shortage of housing supply. So therefore we definitely urge your support of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Matthew Jacobs, Allison Gay.
Yeah, my name is Matthew Jacobs. I'm a resident of the Fairfax District. I work as a developer and an advocate for public parks and affordable housing. Just to be clear, I'm speaking as a citizen, not as a director of the California Housing Finance Agency. The intent of the small lot ordinance was to encourage the development of smaller scale infill housing at more attainable price points. The projects developed under the ordinance are built at or below densities permitted by the property's underlying zoning. The real problem we have is I've got a couple projects under development, and the lots are sitting there waiting for a year for engineering to get through the map recordation process. The neighbors aren't happy about it. This is just a technical fix that's going to make this a lot easier. So I appreciate the support.
Thank you. Allison Gay, Matt Foss.
My name is Allison Gay, and I'm a resident of West LA. I work as a designer at an architecture firm that primarily designs small lot subdivisions, and our firm believes in providing good housing, and we live and care about the communities that we develop. The refinement process that this ordinance amendment proposes most importantly creates transparency in the public process. I've noticed that there seems to be a misconception that this amendment will affect the public process by reducing the time the public has to comment on the project, but that's just not the case. With this amendment, any variance or adjustments a developer is asking for will no longer be hidden among a long list of unnecessary variances. This amendment clarifies the process for the neighbors. It does not shorten the process for developers. It will make proposals more transparent and more in line with the code, since formal notices and applications will no longer be required by things that are already allowed after the lot subdivision is complete. Secondly, since this amendment to the ordinance will clear up confusion in the public process, it will reduce...
Wrap it up, please. Yeah.
Okay. It will reduce time for the city and time in the process, and lots won't sit vacant. Thank you.
Thank you. Matt Foss, Juan Lee. Oh, Matt Foss not here? Juan Lee not here? Okay. I know Rogelio Navar's here. See him in the audience.
Good afternoon, Committee Chair Huizar, Councilmember Cedillo. I'm going to basically not say what everybody else said, but all the points that they made were valid. I'm with California Home Builders. It's a local LA-based developer, builder, owner. And for us, this change is very much needed, the procedural change. First, as was mentioned before, it's a procedural flaw that will be eliminated, and in so doing, will eliminate the unnecessary red tape. Another important point that hasn't been mentioned is as we move forward in processing these track maps and trying to pull permits, it's right now taking BOE almost a year or more to process them because they have so few staff. So for us, this technical change is very critical. And once again, nothing is going to be occupied prior to the certificate of occupancy being pulled, and a covenant would be recorded with the city in the recorder's office stating that fact. We want to continue building, providing homes at affordable price points for working families, and we really appreciate your support of this technical amendment change.
Thank you. Bruce Kuiper. Joan Ramon.
Bruce Kuiper.
Kuiper.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and Councilmember Cedillo. I'm a homeowner in nearby a proposed small lot subdivision in the middle of single-family homes that have been there since the 40s. I oppose this proposed ordinance. Contrary to Ms. Can's speech, this is not just a technical change or, as a prior speaker said, a fix. This is an elimination of the variances that are required by Charter Section 562C. This is a problem that's entirely of the developers making. They're the ones who choose to do these small lot subdivisions because they can make more money on them. They don't have to pay costs associated with condominiums. They're trying to, before the county records the map, have permits pulled by Building and Safety that would violate the variances that would be required to build on that lot. That lot, those small lots do not exist until the map records with the county. If they have a problem with delay, they can choose to do condos, or they can seek relief from the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Joan Ramon and Doug Haynes.
Thank you very much for hearing us. I'm also a resident on Bellagio Road with this gentleman, as many of us are. Unfortunately, a lot of us couldn't be here today because of the short notice and because a lot of people are working. But we are entirely opposed to this amendment because it does not give people that live in the neighborhood a chance to make their voice heard. I sent an email out earlier today with photographs of what our street looks like, and if you have had a chance to look at it, you will see they have got single-family homes, and all of a sudden there's this monstrosity of a hospital building being built right across the street from us. It's taking away the trees, the views, the lovely ambience of our neighborhood, which is a single-family home neighborhood. Thank you.
Doug Haynes, Pat Nation.
Good afternoon. My name is Doug Haynes. The only thing really that we see that this streamlines is the community out of the process. I'm sure you as council members have received a lot of complaints about small lots of subdivisions. In my community, they've all been what we call flipperoonies. They're all spec deals. The developer will get the entitlements and then flip them to somebody else. This problem isn't associated, and the small lot subdivision is really a great idea, but isn't associated with condos and apartments because you don't have the issue of the setbacks being eliminated. The front yard can be eliminated, the rear yard can be eliminated. Those are important to the community for consistencies of our streetscape. To take those away is to take away our opportunity as a community to really have a livable community that we really want and we have goals for. But the thing is, the appeals for variances and the appeals for the subdivisions are held concurrently. There is no time delay. The only thing is that the variances have a second level appeal to the council member, and you have an opportunity then to review it. You don't with subdivisions. Thank you.
Thank you. Pat Nation, Doug Tornquist.
Hi, I live in the same neighborhood near Bellagio Road on Moraga Drive. I think this whole moratorium, there should be a moratorium on this entire ordinance. It's ill-defined. It doesn't tell where you can build these things. It makes sense that they would be near the city central or in high population areas with places you can walk to, shop, where there are transportation hubs. But that is not the same. Urban infill is not suburban infill, and people live in suburbs because they like lawns, pools, grass, what have you, places their children can play, and they don't want it on rooftops. This proposed small lot project at 11767 Bellagio Road is one of 4 houses that are 60 years old that never changed their zoning from multifamily to R9, which is what is locally goes up the street. There are these. I'm through?
Yes, you're finished.
Okay.
Ma'am. Thank you. Doug Tornquist, Morgan Manis? Rajgan Manis.
Good afternoon. My name is Doug Tornquist. I'm a resident of the neighborhood of Silver Lake. The housing crisis of Los Angeles, recently labeled America's least affordable rental market, will not be solved by building more housing priced well above the median price of this region. This motion to allow by-right subdivision does nothing for the stakeholders of the city and brings more power to those who already have substantial advantages. As it stands now, the process of subdivision allows for significant stakeholder comment, input, and involvement as infill development changes the character of long-standing neighborhoods. It allows change to occur in a way that benefits all, stakeholder and developer alike. Tom LaBonge asked the Department of City Planning to evaluate the ordinance and ensure compatibility with the neighborhood. He addressed the problems of the small lot ordinance from the stakeholders' perspective, not that of the developers. He called for the guidelines to be updated and improved. At this date, the guidelines are unenforceable, all too often enhanced by flexibility and creativity to the point of distortion and flagrant disregard. Until such time as problems such as these can be addressed, the subdivision process must not be changed, further removing any chance for the stakeholders to work with the developers to maintain and enhance their neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you. Morgan Manis? Morgan Manis? It's Mojgan? No?
Good afternoon. My name is Mojgan Manavi. I live at 11782 Bellagio Road. I'm here to emphatically oppose the small lot subdivision ordinance, and specifically the one at 11767 Bellagio Road. 11767 Bellagio Road, or indeed any of Bellagio Road, is not in a public transportation hub area or a commercial area. This is mainly single-family residences. I have photos of what the area looks like right now with renderings of the proposed project at 117-867 Bellagio Road. I urge you to please vote no on this. Thank you.
Thank you. David Modern, Carol Citrone.
Good afternoon, committee members. The small lot ordinance has created many serious unintended negative consequences which have come to light mainly through the collaborative neighborhood council review process. And it is this need to ask for a variance that actually triggers the neighborhood council review process. The Echo Park Elysian Neighborhood Council Community Impact Statement bears this out. Tom Labange's motion 13-1478 is attempting to address the problems with the underlying ordinance. Agenda item 6, apparently as a result of this motion, is now calling for streamlining the process for developers and will actually be making it much easier to sidestep the neighborhood council review. So the spirit of the motion is being turned inside out, and the democratic process is being hijacked in a way that can only be described as completely contrary to the intentions of the residents and their council member. The proposed change to the ordinance should be rejected if for no other reason than to respect the spirit of the motion as well as the democratic process itself. The means do not justify the ends. Thank you.
Thank you. Carol Citrone, Joe Farrell.
Hello, my name is Carol Citrone. I'm a longtime resident of Silver Lake, and I'm a current voting member of the Silver Lake Neighborhood Council Urban Design and Preservation Committee. In my recent meetings with this committee, I've learned firsthand how beneficial it is to have access to the developer with his plans, to be able to ask questions, make suggestions, and see from the first meeting to the last how a project can evolve. I fear that elimination of this requirement will end the need for a developer to reach out to the neighborhood council, and this dialogue will be lost. It's especially beneficial to have the developer appear specifically before the neighborhood council, because these meetings are centrally located in the neighborhood and occur in the evening when it is more democratically accessible to all. I would like to quote a section of the letter submitted to you by the Greater Echo Elysian Neighborhood Council. It says, "We request that the City Council delay any action on the small lot ordinance until staff is able to consider other means by which neighborhood councils may retain their current level of review for small lot subdivision projects. If you eliminate this variance requirement, I am hoping you will find a way to maintain the link between the developer and the neighborhood council, which has proved to be an invaluable asset to the developer, the community, and the city of Los Angeles as a whole." Thank you.
Joe Farrell, Jay Handel.
Hello, my name is Joe Farrell. I'm a Silver Lake Neighborhood Council member. I submitted an Exhibit A and Exhibit B for all you to look at, and it's basically what will happen if this motion is passed. It makes small lot subdivisions a by right, and it eliminates the developer needing a variance to start the small lot development, which forces them to come to neighborhood council. So by approving this, you're taking the neighborhood council out of the equation. And Exhibit A is a small lot development that was brought to the Silver Lake Neighborhood Council. And because it was brought to them, Exhibit B is the results of that. And you can see the modifications and the adjustments the developer made after getting feedback from the neighborhood council. And changes include setback, guest parking, reduces in rooftop decks, and a complete facade change, and the elimination of balconies that were looking into neighboring properties. So by approving this motion, you're simply eliminating the neighborhood council review process and making it a by right, so the developers do not have to come to neighborhood councils. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to go, Doug Handel.
Good afternoon. Jay Handel, Chair of the West LA Neighborhood Council. At our board meeting last week, we voted unanimously to ask the City Council to actually put a moratorium on small lot subdivision ordinances and to stop this continued Band-Aid effect of fixing something that's broken. It doesn't meet the spirit and intent. We're not creating affordable homes for first-time homeowners to come in and buy. In my district, West LA, if you look up planning, they are taking all of our area and putting big, dense units in there that are unaffordable for anyone to be able to go in as a first-time homeowner. And as far as the notification goes, by right equals no rights to the rest of the community. We would urge you to table this item and bring forward a fixed ordinance very soon so that we can stop the nonsense we go through in our community on a monthly basis. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll go to item number 7. Doug Haynes, Jay Handel.
Doug Haynes, just real quick, the ordinance was changed, the proposal was changed so that it says the intent of the guidelines be pursued. I would say that the guidelines need to be adhered to. Labange put in the motion originally, if I'm not mistaken, if Renee is still here, I don't see her, but so because of a development that was proposed in the area near Melrose and Highland Avenue, and the neighbors were outraged by it because it didn't follow the intent. We followed all these small lot subdivisions that come into area. We have these guidelines that sound great, but once they're actually proposed by the developer, they don't follow any of the guidelines. We would like actually for the rules to be followed so that if there's something in there that says you have to be consistent with the streetscape and the setbacks, that actually is a requirement, and it doesn't say within the ordinance that the intent is all that is necessary. Thank you.
Doug Tornquist, Joe Farrell.
Thank you. In reference to the guidelines, I echo the statements of the previous gentleman. The guidelines have no teeth. They are unenforceable. And if these developments are going to happen in our neighborhood, we need some rules so that we can all work together and not have our neighborhoods destroyed by monoliths. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe Farrell, and our last speaker is Renee Weitzer.
Hello. So the small lot subdivision policy was envisioned to allow the subdivision of underutilized land in multifamily and commercial areas. In the 9 months I've been attending Silver Lake Urban Design and neighborhood council meetings, I have yet to see a small lot subdivision target underutilized land. All the proposed developments have been located in already dense, mostly residential neighborhoods that require demolition of existing structures, occasionally demolition of rent-controlled units, which runs counter to the goal of the small lot guidelines, which is to provide affordable housing. In the same 9-month period, 9 out of the 10 developments brought to the Silver Lake Council are either out of scale or don't fit into existing neighborhood in terms of size, massing, and architecture. One of the goals of the guidelines is to, quote, design and configure housing to be compatible with the existing neighborhood context, especially in sensitive areas. What good are these guidelines if they're just suggestions? They're not enforceable. And I'm a public policy graduate student at USC, and I'm able to provide a unique perspective on this. And I'm not an expert in implementation, but from what I've learned in applying the skills and tools from my program, the small lot subdivision policy fails to be implemented.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can we have staff? Oh, I'm Renee Weitzer. Yes, I'm sorry.
Thank you very much. Renee Weitzer for Councilman Tom Labange. I wasn't planning on speaking, but I'd like to clarify a few issues. We've had a lot of calls from all over the city, from all different neighborhoods, not just in CD4, regarding this motion, item 6, which indicated that it was in response to our motion. That was incorrect, and I believe the planning department corrected that. This motion 6 is a planning motion, came from the planning department, not our motion. We did do a motion to amend the small lot ordinance because everybody all over the city is having problems with the small lots. They're not compatible with the streets where they're being built. There's a trash issue. If you have 7 small lots, you have 14 barrels out on the street, taking up mostly all of the parking. So we feel that even though the small lot may be a good idea, however, it does need to be amended. So we have a setback in the front, we have private pickup, and so forth. So the guidelines that the planning department came out with, they were always in existence. But when our motion was put in to amend the small lot, the planning department beefed up the guidelines, which we appreciate, and they told their zoning administrators to try and follow the guidelines. But basically, they're just guidelines, and the developers don't have to follow them. So we would like to have our motion heard, which I spoke to your deputy in a week or 2 weeks, whenever, and to amend the small lot. And I think that's what most people throughout the city would like to see.
Thank
But
you.
I don't see a problem with this. I think a lot of people don't understand and feel that they're variances. They're really not variances, and it's still not a by right. Still has to go to a subdivision hearing. Thank you.
So your office, Ms. Schweitzer?
Yes, sir.
Would your office, because as I was listening to the conversation and I got a better understanding of the different pieces of this, we have the guidelines, we have today's
Right.
department directive, not the motion. We have
Right.
the motion that has yet to arrive for a hearing. I was wondering if we should just hold back on the directive by the department so that then we hear it all together with your motion. But would your office have an issue with moving forward on the directive by the department?
No, we don't have an
Yeah,
issue.
because
It's just that I feel badly because most people don't understand what this is. They really think that it's eliminating variances, but it isn't. You still have a subdivision hearing for everyone to know.
Okay, great, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Can we have the department staff come up, please, again? And quite quickly, as I explained, I think what we have before us are the guidelines, which does clear up a number of issues and does address some of the concerns that were in fact raised by some of the speakers. We also have this directive by the department, which I think it's not going to impact or make any worse some of the concerns that some of the speakers have, right? But will just help clarify a procedure that's going to help in having people move forward with their projects and not have to wait about a year or so, right? That's the net effect of that. So my question to the maker of the motion to look at the subdivision ordinance as a whole and see what changes we need to make to the ordinance and not necessarily only to the guidelines was if it's okay we move forward with this item today. And I think that's, would you see any problems with coming back later, discussing the ordinance as a whole and moving forward today with the directive? Would that create any replication of work for us or any problems in what you're preparing for us and when we come back? No?
No, that's fine.
That's fine, okay. And in terms of the guidelines, there were some issues made that this will keep the neighborhood councils out from commenting or possibly even council offices. Is that accurate or not?
No, actually, the guidelines are set to help give them sort of the items for discussion. It's because these land in all sorts of different neighborhoods in different contexts, so it's hard to come up with specific standards for everyone, but these are things to consider when you're starting to try and shape a project. And what we did do is we tried to beef up that discussion about the front yard setback and what's consistent along in the general area. Mm-hmm. So we tried to actually enhance that in these guidelines. And so they're there, and what we're also doing within the department is also pushing the developers and the staff to get them back out to the neighborhood council, get this early on in the process before they're even filing to get the information and the discussions going on. So some of the cases that this is recent, so some of the cases that we are seeing now are in with the neighborhood councils and they haven't even filed their application with us yet. So this is the good thing that's happening, is it's bringing that and getting out that information out very front.
Okay, great. Any questions or comments, Mr. Cedillo, before I make a recommendation? Okay, great, thank you. So what we'll do is I will request that we, from my own staff, that we agendize the Labange motion fairly soon to get a comprehensive look at the subdivision lot ordinance. I'll request my colleague, Mr. Cedillo, that we move forward today and approve the small lot division early start ordinance and its reports and environmental clearance and send this to city attorney for final review as to form and legality and instruct the city clerk to correct the council file for this report and committee action. It is not the actual motion. And finally, receive and file the report on the small lot subdivision guidelines. That was actually just, those exist. They were just we wanted to bring them into committee to discuss them in a public hearing so that people understand them. I would suggest for the public, those of you who are interested in coming back with the motion, we talk about the ordinance as a whole, that you do read the new guidelines and the beefed up guidelines. They may or may not address some of your concerns, and at least when we have that bigger conversation, we'll be in a better position to understand what it does and does not do. But certainly I've had concerns in some of the use of this ordinance and what it does to setbacks. I've seen various items come through here. People have been trying to circumvent this when they're using variances, and we have some unwanted quality of life issues when you have a block that is consistent and then you find one plot that stands out and sticks out because of the way people have been circumventing this. So there is a lot to be discussed here. I want to thank Mr. Labange offices for bringing this to our attention as well. We will hear that soon and have a comprehensive discussion about the ordinance. Okay, great. Thank you. So with those items, we'll wrap it up and approve item number 6, instruct the city clerk to correct the council file and receive and file number 7. Okay. Any objection, Mr. Cedillo? No. Okay, so ordered. Thank you. So where does that leave us?
Public comment.
Public comment. We have no more public comment cards, and adjourns this meeting. Thank you.